He's one of your own. He comes from North Country. He was a local police officer, and he worked his way up. He's the only person, I believe, that's ever run ICE who actually started at the entry level and worked his way to the top of the agency. And what we need is people that are fearless. And I'm going to introduce Tom, but I'm going to thank him on behalf of all of us. I know over the years the sacrifices you've had to make. I know the risks you and your family have had to deal with. But I know at the end of the day, you know, just like I know when we're doing this, it's all worth it. Because if we don't do this, we don't have a country. But now I'd like to get a huge round of applause for North Country's own Tom Homan.
First of all, who opened their rifle? Show yourself. Who was it? Who won the rifle? All right, you're going to talk later. Honestly, I'm glad I'm not saying all the rest of it. That's great. Well, okay, two things. Jericho messed up on. Number one, she gave me a microphone because I'm pissed off. I'll let you listen. And she put a pastor front and center. What the hell is going on? So you either need to forgive me in advance or leave, one or the other. Look, I'm serious. If I offend anybody tonight, I simply don't give a shit. Because I don't. Because we're in a position now where the truth needs to be told, because you're not going to hear the truth from this administration. And look, I'm going to tell you a quick story real quick. Everybody asks me, you know, how do you get in trouble? How do you get in trouble? I'll tell you a story. I was third in command at ICE during the election. I was convinced Hillary Clinton was going to win. I was convinced. I think most of the country was. And after spending 8 years under Barack Obama, I told my wife, I'm not doing this. So before the election, I announced my retirement. I signed a contract with a big company making about 3 times as much money as the ICE director, right? So I said, okay, it's a good move. No more death threats for my family, no more security details constantly surrounding my family. So I did it. So the night of the election, I wake up the following morning, my wife wakes me up, she goes, Trump won. Now what do you want to do? But I've already signed a contract with this company. I gave them 120 days notice. The third in command ICE runs the deportation operation. It's a very hard job, an unpopular job. Like I said, death threats all the time. So I gave them 120 days notice to find someone to replace me. So in January, I retired. I had a retirement ceremony. There was a whole bunch of people there. It was the saddest day of my life. Because when you carry a badge and gun for 3.5 decades, and you guys know, I met a lot of law enforcement officers in the room. When you wear a badge and gun for many years, it's really who you become. And I knew that day I was hanging it up. I was just going to be a civilian. This is on a Friday. I knew when I leave that building Friday night, I'm a civilian. So at the end of the ceremony, my chief of staff comes up and he says, you got an emergency phone call in your office. My empty office, because all my shit's already boxed up sitting at home. Because I'm starting a new job on Monday. So I said, okay, who is it? She goes, it's your office. I can't say it, it's in the office. So I go to my empty office, I pick the phone, and it was Secretary of Homeland Security, John Kelly. He goes, Tom, I know this is bad timing, but President Trump just called me and wants you to be the director of ICE. And I said, bad timing, sir, I just retired. He goes, no, you didn't. Paperwork's on my desk, I haven't signed it. It was a true story. So I said, well, sir, I've already signed a contract with this company. I don't know what my legal obligations are. I need to talk to my family because, you know, my wife and my kid, I moved them 7, 8 times. We had death threats against my wife and child. We got pictures of my child walking to school, saying they're going to kill him. So my family went through hell. And I said, well, I need to talk to my family. I need to see if I can get out of this contract. Can I have it till Monday? And he goes, okay, Monday morning, 0600, I'm going to call you. I need an answer. And he said, well, before you hang up the phone, let me leave you with this thought. And I'll tell you word for word. He goes, Tom, the President of the United States is asking you, a career law enforcement officer, to serve the country a little bit longer. Tom, the President needs your help. I'll call you on Monday. So going home with that, right? So on the way home, my wife said, what was the phone call? I told her. She goes, hell no. You ain't doing it. I said, babe, it's the President of the United States. She goes, I don't give a shit. I don't like it. And she did. But she is his biggest fan now because she saw what that man did for this country. She loves him now, right? So, of course, Sunday night, I'm laying in bed, my wife said, what are you going to do? I said, what do you think I'm going to do? I called the company to let me out, and I can't say no. And she goes, I know you can, and I support it, and I went back. So the next day, when John Kelly called, I said, okay, let's do this. Okay, shut your phone off because you're going to get the White House will announce it in about an hour, and they did. And you know, I got like hundreds of phone calls. This is from where? The North Country. A lot of folks call. The first ones that called were from up here. So next day I showed up at the ICE office to amazement of hundreds of employees. They gave me great gifts just a few days ago that I was leaving. I walked into the director's office. There's 3 attorneys here from the ethics division saying, Mr. Owen, we have a list of every gift you got. You need to return those gifts within 48 hours because they all work for you again. And they said, and your wife got a gift certificate for $500, you'll need that back. And I told the guy, I said, look, I'll write you a check for $500. The last time I was asked my wife for that gift certificate back, she's already pissed off. I'm staying. And the next morning, I'm on Air Force One, the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump. The best part of tonight, I walked in this building, and I run into a guy, when I joined the board until 1984. There's a guy in this room who was my first journeyman. So he is responsible for the mess I am today. Dennis Duty, we just stand up and say hi to everybody. That is my journeyman in the United States Border Patrol. If you want any dirt on him, come see me afterwards. I got plenty. For the men and women, I know I'm men lobby. If you wore a badge and gun, or if you're in the military, would you stand up, please? Do me an honor, stand up. Military, badge and gun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the finest 1% this country has. Thank you for your service. So I got a 5:30 a.m. flight out of Syracuse. You know, I got a lake house. I grew up in Carthage, New York, which is down by Fort Drum. I own a lake house in Sackets Harbor, where my beautiful wife is tonight. And I always thought I was in the North Country when I was in Sackets Harbor. Then when I took this drive today, I was like, Jared, what the hell did you do to me? I'm in the car 3 hours, keep heading north. It's beautiful, and I got here in daylight, so I see the changing color. What a beautiful place. This is God's country for sure. So you guys are lucky. And you're lucky to have Elise Stefanik as your congresswoman. She was a little bit too polite because, you know, Governor Hochul sucks. That's just the bottom line. She's probably the worst governor in 50 years governors in the state. Then I got Joe Pinion, who speaks better than anybody. Joe gives a great speech. That ain't me. So I say what I say. If I offend you, that's just the way it's going to be because I'm a redneck and Joe grew up milking cows like a lot of you in this room did. So I'm home. I'm home. So let me start out with one thing. I hopped on an airplane in Dallas 2 weeks ago, and I got on the plane first on a concierge ticket, got 1.5 million miles. I'm on the road 27 days a month for the Trump campaign. The guy's killing me, but I love it. So anyways, I'm hopping on a plane in Dallas. I get on the plane first, and the captain meets me in the galley, you know, where the kitchen is. He goes, I knew that was you, Tom Homan. I love what you do on Fox News, and I love the President Trump. He goes, I got a question. Me and my wife always wondered. I said, what's that? He goes, every time I see you on Fox, I've seen you testify in Congress. Why are you always pissed off? And I said, because I am pissed off. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm serious. I wake up every morning, I make up every morning pissed off. Because President Trump had this locked down, right? I worked for 6 presidents, Trump, Ronald Reagan. Every president I worked for took steps to secure the border. Even President Obama did. You can't deny that. No one did more than President Trump. President Trump's a badass president. He did more than anyone. But every president I worked for took steps to secure the border because they understood you can't have national security, strong national security, if you don't have border security. We need to know what's coming in, who's coming in, where's coming in, why it's coming in. We need to know these things to protect our national security. No one did more than President Trump. President Trump had illegal immigration at a 45-year low. And at the highest point, had illegal immigration down 91%. All right? Joe Biden is the first president ever in the history of this nation who came into office and unsecured the border on purpose. I mean, who the hell does that? What president says, I want more illegal immigration, I want more illegal drugs, I want the cartels to make more money, I want more known suspected terrorists across the border, I want more women and children sex trafficked. Yeah, that's what I want. President, what they're doing, this isn't mismanagement, this isn't incompetence, this is by design. They want to open borders, they want to turn over, they want to change the electorate. And they perceive our future political benefit from releasing millions of people in this country who they think should be future Democratic voters. But they don't even have to get there to vote, because President Biden also overturned the Trump census rule, which millions of people in sanctuary cities will be counted in the next census. What does that mean? More seats in the House for the Democrats. They'll own Congress forever. They sold this country out for future political power, and in my world, that's treasonous. And they need to know Congress. Kamala Harris is almost as dumb as AOC, but not quite. She's in the same grade. Me and AOC, I testified one time in front of AOC, and she's got to be the dumbest congresswoman ever elected to U.S. Congress. Because I had to explain to her, it's actually against the law to enter the country illegally. She didn't know that. And of course, you can see it on YouTube. More people know me from that than do as vice director. But Kamala Harris is around the country now saying Donald Trump shut down legislation that could have secured the border. That is bullshit. So let me tell you what the truth is. 6 months before that Senate bill was even talked about, we had H.R. 2. H.R. 2 passed the House. H.R. 2 would have secured the border. How do I know? To help write it. And most of the things in that bill were Trump policies. The Remain in Mexico program, a game changer. Remain in Mexico is a game changer. You can still claim asylum, but you're going to wait in Mexico and not be called and released in the United States. After about 6 weeks, they stopped coming. Because they realized, I'm not going to give the cartels all my money to sit in Mexico. So they stopped coming. They can still claim asylum, but they're going to wait in Mexico. Kamala Harris says, no, the Senate bill would fix the border. No. Obviously, she either didn't read the bill, or she's just plain stupid. Because the Senate bill will not work. So what the Democrats did was this. H.R. 2 went to the Senate. Chuck Schumer wouldn't put on the floor for debate. He wouldn't even put it for a vote. It's still on his desk today. Well, they decided, okay, look at the polls. The polls are really bad. Immigration is number one. Let's write a bill. We'll get some moron Republican senator to agree to this. Let's create a bill that we know won't pass. And when it doesn't pass, we can blame Republicans. Now it's their problem. It's their fault. Senator Langford, who helped co-write that bill, Republican Senator out of Oklahoma, he's not very smart. Matter of fact, he called me and 2 retired chief patrol agents. The chief patrol agent that controlled the entire 20,000 men and women in the Border Patrol, 2 retired. We sat in the conference room and listened to the sell on the Senate bill. Will you support it, Homan? Hell no. The bill sucks. Why would you even put your name on that bill? This is a conversation. Terrible bill. Can't support it. What you ought to do as a Republican senator is demand Chuck Schumer put the H.R. 2 bill on the floor, because that will work. This bill is going to allow 4,000 to 5,000 illegal entries a day. Codify that in federal law. 4,000 to 5,000 a day until they took any action. And that had to happen for several weeks in a row. One day they don't get it, all of a sudden you start over again. They would have put in federal law, we're okay with 4,000 to 5,000 a day, which is 1.8 million a year. I'm not okay with it. Why is it 4,000 to 5,000? Why not 1? Why not 1, right? And when it's 5,001, you think that alien comes to the border to your 5,001, you can't come in. Think he's going back? No, he's going to be a gobbler. He's just not going to turn himself in. The bill's terrible. And the worst part about the bill is that nothing about child trafficking, child sex trafficking. Over 500,000 children have been smuggled in this country in this administration. Over 500,000 kids separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels to be smuggled across the border. Who knows what happened to them during that journey? 148,000 of them that they released to cold-call sponsors, they can't find them. They can't find the sponsors. I guarantee you, based on my 3.5 decades, These children are in forced labor, or they're in a forced sexual situation, either in child pornography or in the sex trade. I've investigated this for 3.5 decades, I'm telling you. Not every one of them, but many of them are living life of hell. Matter of fact, ICE, the agency I used to run, has already opened up 4 investigations, finding these young children cleaning up entrails in a meatpacking plant in the midnight shift. And in the Senate bill, there's a carve-out. 4,000 to 5,000 a day, and doesn't count children. There's no limit on children. Children keep coming. They won't be counted toward the end. So that's just going to entice more child trafficking. How dare they leave that out and not just child trafficking? It would have given the NGOs billions of dollars. It would have given money to sanctuary cities. It wouldn't fix it. Anybody that thinks that it fixed the border is absolutely a moron. Of course, Kamala Harris thinks it's going to fix the border. That's what she's saying. Look, I was asked the other day in the show, it says, why do you think, 6 months ago, everybody thought Kamala Harris was a joke. Now they think she's the next Margaret Thatcher for some reason. And why do millions of people support Kamala Harris? I'll tell you one reason. Because they hate Trump more than they love this country. Because they're willing to put this person as the CEO of the greatest nation on earth. The border situation, I grew up here, not this far north, I grew up in Carthage, Lake Ontario, St. Lawrence River. This is holy shit, you're way up here. I look at the numbers up there, and it's extraordinary, the crossings up there. And I know, Dennis, when you came up here in 1985, you weren't working this hard. As a matter of fact, get ready to come back. We're going to hire retired border agents back to help with the biggest deportation operation in history of the nation. You might have to drop a few pounds, but you come back. We'll get you in uniform either way. Look, what's happening on the border, you need to understand, it's just not an immigration issue anymore. I don't care what your opinion is on illegal immigration, but when you cause a crisis this big, that causes a majority of border trades on the southwest border to be pulled off the line, to change diapers, make sandwiches, make baby formula, make hospital runs, make bus runs, make airport runs. Majority of border trades is off the border. That's when the criminal cartels move the fentanyl to kill a quarter million Americans. That's when the 600% of sex trafficking women and children happen. That's when you got a record number of people on the terrorist watch list. Just on the southwest border, just shy of 400. In less than 4 years. Under President Trump, we had 11. 11. They got just shy of 400. Just on the southwest border. Northern border, in the last 4 years, has almost twice as many as that. So what this immigration crisis they caused on purpose, the bad things happen because the criminal cartels, especially on the Mexican border, they control our southern border. The greatest nation on earth does not have operational control of our southern border. We want operational control of the northern border. Criminal cartels do. They decide who comes across, when they comes across, and where they cross. On the southwest border, most agents are off the lines. What happens? They take half of your agents from up here and send them down there. Matter of fact, I talked to the PIC in Detroit sector. They got a lot of people on the southwest border. The half that remain in Detroit are processing illegal aliens caught in Mexico virtually. So there's virtually no border patrol, no road patrol, no river patrol. So when you cause a crisis this big, it takes all these agents off the line, and the criminal cartels say, well, let's move a group of 100 family units over here, and whatever left on the line will go to that area to deal with that humanitarian crisis, and we can move all the fentanyl we want, all the gang members, all the people carrying drugs, all the gang members, because they don't want to get caught. Here's what you need to ask yourself. This is why I call this the biggest national security vulnerability in the history of this nation, even worse than 9/11, is because when Border Patrol's arrested people, since Biden's been president, they've arrested people from 180 different countries. That's almost every country on the planet. Some of these countries are sponsored with terror. I just told you they arrested just short of 400 on the southern border. We got 2.2 million getaways. You gotta ask yourself, why did 2 million people pay more to get away? Why did they pay less? Because you pay the cartels 2 amounts of money on the south border. You pay them 1 amount to get to the border. Their job's over. See a green uniform, turn yourself in. Their job's over. Well, if you want to get away, if you want to get to New York City, or you want to get to Chicago and not get arrested, you pay a hell of a lot more. You're a Chinese national, you're paying over $30,000. So why do they pay more to get away? Why do they pay less to be released within 24 hours, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, get free medical care, and work authorization in 120 days? Why would you not pay less to take advantage of that free giveaway? Ask yourself that. I'll tell you why, because they don't want to be vetted, they want to be fingerprinted. That should scare the hell out of everybody in this room. It scares the hell out of me. There's a reason they want to be arrested. There's a reason they want to be vetted or fingerprinted. And look, after 9/11, I was in D.C. We created all these different databases. Okay, we can't, these people came in on visas and they flew over here. We can't have that anymore. So let's create these programs. You got the TSA no-fly list. You got the FBI screening database. You got the DOD Intel database. You got the visa security program, which I used to run. We have prevented thousands of people from getting a visa coming to this country when we found derogatory information in the background. Worked pretty good. All these programs have worked pretty good in the last 20 years. But what terrorist today is going to apply for a visa or airline ticket, knowing there's some sort of vetting procedure going on, when they simply go to Mexico, pay the cartels extra money, and be a godbrother? I'm telling you folks, even the FBI director, Christopher Wray, who I have zero respect in, even he agrees with me that Southwest border is a terrorist vulnerability. And we know terrorists that cross this border. I don't know how many, but someday we'll find out. It's a bad day for America. And when it does happen, I want President Trump to be sitting in the Oval Office, not this idiot. That's right. You know, I spoke at the RNC. Trump asked, would you speak at the RNC? And I agreed to do it. And for those that saw me, I wasn't feeling any pain. I was on more painkillers that day than you can shake a stick at. I actually threw my back out that morning, so I was feeling pretty good when I finally got to that stage. And when you do speak at the RNC, I've never done it before. You got to use a teleprompter. You're giving me 4 minutes. I don't need a teleprompter. Believe me, I can speak 4 minutes, stay in my head. No. You got pre-approved talking points, every word. It needs to be in the teleprompter. You need to follow every word exact. And if you don't, we'll shut you down. Yeah, whatever. So then I gave him 4 minutes. I practiced, that was actually 4 minutes and 3 seconds. So again, just before I hit the stage, I met a lady backstage who was going to speak later. And she broke my heart because she came up to me, she was a mess. I tell her, I was broken when she walked up to me. She had a son who was in college and he wasn't doing very good, and her and her husband said, unless you get a certain grade in your finals, we're not paying for college anymore, you're gonna come home. So that young man took a pill that night to stay up. Little did he know, his life was fentanyl, he died. So here's a mom and dad who are living a life of hell. I can't imagine what they're going through. So she was telling me the story, and she was just a mess when she's telling me. And my heart broke. I even started crying a little bit. I mean, it's just, you know, I said, Dad, parents should never bury their children. That's not the way it should be. Anyway, so she got me fired up. So I went up on stage and I did my talk. I was looking at teleprompter, I did my thing, right? Then I went off script. So I gave a warning. I said, warning for those millions of illegal aliens that were released in the country illegally by the Biden administration, you better start packing now. Right? Massive applause. Then I added this. I said, I got another message to the criminal cartels in Mexico. When President Trump becomes president, he's going to designate you terrorist organizations. He's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. I got the same response. Of course, teleprompter went in. Then I went back to my speech. I got off the stage and the guy on the teleprompter, I told you you did it anyways. I said, I do that too. Well, you know, you can't do that. I said, look, I'm finished. I'm working. You can't do that. And just said, President Trump walked up. Said, hey, great. I love it. Why pushing another time? It's great. I looked at the guy and said, you want to tell the president you got a problem there? Nope. You know, the next day I was hurting really bad. The president knew, I had doctors in my hotel room that day because I wasn't even walking. I slipped in the shower, that's what happened. I crawled to bed. Anyway, they sent doctors to my room, got me going. I was able to get to the stage. You know, the next day the president did? He got me a private jet to take me home because, you know, I wasn't feeling good and I couldn't get on a commercial flight. I couldn't drive my rental car back. Someone came, got my rental car, returned it. I got to a private airport, got a private jet. And President Trump, that's just the type of guy he is. He's a great guy. Jerry, you know, Congressman J. Paul couldn't get me on the stage. She gabbled the shit out of me. She couldn't get me off, so good luck. You know, my wife asks me all the time, she'll come with me tonight. I got 2 Italian Mastiffs, and they'll tear the house apart if someone's not there. If someone's not there for 6 hours, you know, these dogs eat about 600 pounds. I got 2 of them, they're both females, one's Rashida, one's to leave. Think I'm joking? No. So I wish you could be here tonight, but she said something to me the other day. She walked up to me, and I told her I was coming to do this, upstate New York. So I came up a couple days early because I wanted a bull hunt. And of course, 10 minutes in the woods, I stepped in the hole, hurt my knee, so that's why I was crawling up the stage here. I come home in 20 minutes, my wife says, "Did you get something?" I said, "A bad knee." So and anyways, she read a hit piece on me. There's hit pieces on me every day. Go to Google me, you know, I'm a racist, I'm a white nationalist. So she said, "Someone did a hit piece on me, look at this." I looked at it. I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Doesn't it bother you that a big part of this country hates your guts?" Not a bit. It doesn't. I don't give a shit. You know the way they cancel you? They cancel you when you let them get to you. I don't care what people think of me. I really don't. I don't care what you all think of me. I'm going to say what I know, and I'm not going to pull back punches. Everything I say, I mean. I did an event in Washington, D.C., and this was a hit piece on. Homan said on stage that he got a Washington Post did a story on me 4 years ago, Washington Post. My wife come running down to my office in my home. She goes, "Look at this. Look at this hit piece in Washington Post." The first line of the story says, is about me with Trump. Tom Homan deports people, and he's really good at it. I told my wife, a hit piece. Carve it out. Put it in the frame. And it's on my office wall today. So I made it a National Conservative seminar in Washington, D.C. I went and spoke, and I told that story. I said, I got to hang it on my wall. You know what? They didn't see shit yet. Wait till January 2025. They want to see how much. Yeah, you're damn right. So, the newspaper, New York Times, they called and said, "We're going to do a story on you. We're trying to verify some facts here." I said, "Okay, what are you going to do? Did you make the statement that they haven't seen shit yet? And you're going to inform people?" I said it, I meant it, I'm going to do it. Any other questions? Then they did another story saying, "Well, we need to know how many times, you know, you've been to Mar-a-Lago at least 3 times since President Trump was out of office." I said, "You guys must be really hurting for stories. I mean, what's the basis of that story?" "Well, everybody's in this administration seems to be going to Mar-a-Lago an awful lot. Mar-a-Lago makes a lot of money on these events, so we're just trying to verify the story. Have you been to Mar-a-Lago 3 times?" I said, "No, I've been there 17 times. Print that." So that's where they cancel you. They write bad stories and they think you're going to go away and hide. Actually, I'm tired. I told you earlier, I travel 27 days a month, mostly to the campaign. And some days I wake up and I'm tired, and I see my wife 1 weekend every 6 or 8, 7 weeks. And I'm up here for 2 days, and where am I at? I'm up here. And she's in seconds. You cut my mic? Anyways. I got to turn it off. But you know what fires me up? When I read a bad story. That just throws gas on my fire. So I gave a speech the other day in Iowa, the Iowa State Dinner. Well over 1,000 people, and there was media in the back room, and I even begged them. I said, "Look, I know there's media back there. Please write a bad story about me. Call me a name, because I'm tired, and when I read that, I'm going to be full of piss and vinegar again. I'm ready to go. So please do that. Because they can't cancel you if you don't give a shit. They can't cancel you if you tell the truth. And all the times on Fox News, I always say, this is what's happening, and this is what's going to happen. I dare anybody, I tell the media that, I dare you to pull up every interview on Fox News where I said something's going to happen, and it didn't. Because you're not going to find it. So they're not going to shut me up. All the death threats, and President Trump, he calls me out almost every rally, and I was with him last week. He says, that cause you a problem? I said, well, yeah, death threats start, adding up. You want me to stop? I said, hell no, I won't stop. Because the thought, the people that hate me and make death threats, the thought that I get to live in their minds rent-free is kind of cool. It's cool. Well, I love it. And I know when I go back, they'll be hating on me again. The death threats will pile up. The body simply don't give a shit. I knew President Trump was coming back before anybody. True story. He called me up one day and says, hey, I'm doing an event in Las Vegas, Nevada. Would you want to support the sheriff who's running for Attorney General and somebody who's running for the governor? I think we didn't forget their name. Could you come, because they're both long for one's the DA and one's the sheriff. Would you come as a cop? Would you come and help me at this event and endorse it? So of course I did a 411 on them. I thought they were great. So I went to Las Vegas after the event. We went to the Trump Hotel and I was eating dinner with the president. It was me, the president, and the guy from Pawn Stars, Rick, he was there. So Trump looks at me and says, Tom, Rick Harrison, that's it. He says, Tom, I'm thinking about coming back. I said, great. If I come back, you come back. I said, Mr. President, I'll come back for free. I'm so pissed off, you don't have to pay me. So let me say one more thing, Brian. Kamala Harris, and I agree with everybody talking tonight, you need to get to the voting booth, you need to take 10 people with you, because we need to overwhelm the vote. So even if they decide to cheat, he's not going to get it. I personally think President Trump's going to win. Because, folks, what they did, just with immigration at the border, and I told President Trump, it's going to take 10 years to fix this, right? I mean, I can secure the border in 90 days. We can lock it down. We already proved we can do it. We just do it again. If Mexico don't want to help, then he'll do what he did in Mexico. He'll threaten them with billions of dollars of tariff. They don't have to help us. But it's going to take a decade to fix it. But if we don't win this one, we're never going to fix it. Too many of them. Too many of them. I mean, you're not going to be able to fix it. And, one guy can fix it. One guy proved he can fix it. That's President Trump. President Trump is one badass president. I remember I went to New York City. I'm going to tell another story. I went to New York City. We just did Operation Matador. Matador was a gang operation we did in New York City. I was vice director. We arrested just short of 500 gang members. So President Trump said, hey, Homan, let's go to a press conference. So we went up there and flew up in the Air Force One. We did a press conference. And I kind of pissed the president off. I did something I probably shouldn't have. So we're sitting there in the news conference, and the president was talking about MS-13. And Nancy Pelosi had an ape shit about this. She goes, President Trump goes, these people are animals. Animals. And then the reporter comes to me, Mr. Homan, do you agree with President Trump? I said, no. I don't know what the president has against animals. He wasn't happy. Because animals kill to survive, MS-13 kills for pleasure. So on the way home, Secret Service agent comes back and says, Mr. Trump would like to see his office. He says, you always say cool shit. He goes, and Steve Miller stayed there. He goes, Steve, how come I never got cool shit to say? Homan, the other day you're on TV and you said when MS-13 were making threats, you said, I don't care because my gang's bigger than their gang. I got 20,000 men and women carrying back the gun. Steve had to talk about a little bit more in the speeches. But another great guy. Look, men and women of the Border Patrol, I love you. I started my career in the Border Patrol. I was the first director of ICE that actually came up through the ranks. My proudest achievement in my entire career is that I was the first director of ICE who actually came up through the ranks. I started the Border Patrol, became a special agent, and climbed that ladder one rung at a time, and President Trump made me the director. And that was my proudest achievement, but I never forgot what it's like to wear that green uniform. You got a lot of green uniforms up here. Please, if you know them, thank them. You got this administration hates them. I mean, you got the president, the secretary Mayorkas, who's a piece of garbage, should have been impeached 6 months after he got the job. They stood at the White House podium. Let's not forget this. They stood at the White House podium and called the men of the Horse Patrol racist for whipping black people. Let's be clear, when that video came out, I was sitting in my living room, I watched it, and I said, great job. Because the Horse Patrol did exactly as they were trained to do. The horses did exactly as they were trained to do. No different than the horses in Times Square and crowd control. Then next thing you know, they're calling them racist. Come out here, conjures up images of slavery. I mean, are you kidding me? The only people that did anything wrong that day were the Haitian illegal aliens who entered the country illegally, which is a crime, ignored federal commands, which is a felony, but no one talked to the Haitians did anything wrong. It was the men in the Border Patrol. And I know some Border Patrol agents, maybe you know them, I do, I met them. Their wives and children were bullied in schools and churches. Their dad was a racist. Their careers will never be the same. They're still not back to full duty. They're trying to reprimand them that, well, you said a bad word, and you were a little aggressive. Because they're trying to save their ass because they know the investigation came back and said they did nothing wrong. That's what the investigation proved. But they're going to try to get them on something to save face. Let's not forget this. The men and women of the Border Patrol, for you guys in this room, since this administration power, the CBP itself with OFO and Border Patrol lost 40 people with suicide. Border Patrol has the highest percentage of suicides than any other federal, state, or local law enforcement agency in the world. Why is that? I'm not saying out of control border made them take their own lives, but whatever internal struggles they were having, giving CPR to a baby certainly isn't helping. Talking to young girls who've been raped multiple times by the cartels isn't helping. They've been put in a bad position. And men and women of the Border Patrol, there's no morale even exists on the southwest border. I'm sure the northern border, the morale is bad too, but you know what? These men and women still traffic country. They put on the Kevlar vest and serve this nation, even though they're not allowed to do the job they want to do. But I tell you what, hold tight, because you're going to get to do that job after January 25. You're going to do that job. I promise you. I'll leave it at this. I want to tell you a story. I want one thing to happen tonight. I want you to leave pissed off too. Or I want to break your heart. Because I can sit here and tell you tragic stories I've seen during my entire career. Most as a special agent. I was down at Brooks County, Texas, months ago, and met with a Democratic sheriff named Benny Martinez. Democrat, Stone Cold Democrat sheriff. I was on patrol with him, and in 4 hours, we found 2 dead bodies. And I asked him, is this normal? He says, yeah, I got 6 deputies, and they're not deputies anymore. We're the morgue. They find so many dead bodies, they already found 100 in this county alone that year. And they had Governor Abbott had to buy a refrigerator truck because the morgue was full. They were putting these people in a refrigerator truck to keep them. True story. He introduced me to a doctor down there. And I talked to the doctor, and let me tell you the story the doctor related to me. This doctor down the border. There was a family, a husband, a wife, and a 20-month-old little girl. 20 months old, not even 2 years old. They pay the cartels to sneak them across the river. They come in a boat. As the Border Patrol approaches their boat, they do what they normally do. They throw the family in the river, knowing they can't swim, because they know the men, the heroes of the Border Patrol, are going to jump in that river with all that gear on and try to save his families, and that's what happened. Smugglers threw the family in the water, including that 20-month-old baby. They turned around and went home. Of course, the Border Patrol's not chasing them. They're going to save these people in the river. And they thought they saved all 3 of them, mother, father, and 20-month-old. The 20-month-old later died in the hospital. The doctor told me during the post-mortem of that little baby, every small opening of her body was sodomized by a member from the cartel. Now I want you to think, while I'm up here on the stage tonight, children and women are being raped by cartels on the southwest border. Any Border Patrol agent that served on the southwest border knows that. While I'm talking to you tonight, a child will die on the southwest border. While I'm talking to you right now, women are being raped by members of the cartel. Not once, many times. I've talked to girls as young as 9 years old that were raped multiple times by members of the cartel. 9! And when you look into a 9-year-old's eyes, then you need, you look into the eyes of a 9-year-old, and everything innocent and pure of that little girl has been ripped from her. Her life will never be the same. That shit happens every day. That's why I'm pissed off. President Trump had a lockdown. When 90% less people are coming, how many women are being raped? When 90% less people are coming, how many babies aren't dying? When 90% less people are coming, how many pounds of fentanyl is it in the country to kill Americans? When 90% decrease, how many known-suspected terrorists are in the country? President Trump had a lockdown. And the only thing that keeps me excited is we're going to lock it down again when he becomes president. And I'll end it with this. The only thing President Trump says that upsets me during the rally is that he's going to run the biggest deportation operation in the country, because you know what? Tom Homan's going to run the biggest deportation operation. And you can take that to the bank, and my first stop is upstate New York. This is home. They pissed